More than half the national budget of Burma goes on the army, guns, and the means of repression, much of it paid for with foreign exchange. To the generals in Rangoon, tourism provides this money, along with a dubious respectability, as foreigners are carefully guided to the country's magnificent, silent monuments.
Is that as high as it goes?
Takes some of them 6 weeks.
I know this isn't fair, Patsy, but I have longer legs than you do.
Too small. Okay. Thank you.
Oh, it's fabulous. It is.
Denise, tu descends?
Toute technique.
Try and fix it.
Are you watching me? This is the way to go down.
You want to get your hand out of the way, Dominic?
How did you come down?
And just use the banister as support. You
Just follow me. If you fall, I'll stop you.
And then you roll your skirt up.
These tourists are unaware that the local people they meet risk imprisonment if they speak too freely to them. Our soldiers, says the Minister of Tourism, are here to protect you. The British built this guest house around the time that Rudyard Kipling was writing The Road to Mandalay. I wonder if he'd recognise the Burma of his dreams today. According to the regime in the year of the tourist, and I quote, "Roads will be wider, lights will be brighter, grass will be greener, and tours will be cleaner." Pick up a travel brochure these days from any of the famous names, British Airways, Kuoni, Orient Express, and you would be pardoned for thinking that the same Ministry of Propaganda supplied the copy. For example, to find an unspoilt country today may seem impossible, but Burma is such a place. Indeed, Rangoon means end of strife. It's easy to see why. Its easygoing ways are a tonic to the Western traveller. It's a tonic that doesn't come cheap in one of the world's poorest countries. A cruise up the Irrawaddy to Mandalay will cost you more than £2,000 for just 11 days. However, there is a Kipling piano bar, and it says here, ensuite cabins that are not just simply luxurious, but include the latest satellite TV, video, and your own personal safe. And in the evenings, gentlemen will feel relaxed in a jacket and tie, and ladies in a dress. What sound advice. And that's not all. There's a free lecture on Burma's history and culture. But you don't get this in the lecture. These are prisoners restoring the moat of the Imperial Palace in Mandalay in preparation for the year of the tourist. The regime says they are criminals in a country where writing a poem or singing a song calling for democracy can get you 10 years hard labour. And here is the moat, finished. All it needs is tourists. Brian Whittaker, an Australian lawyer, witnessed slave labour when he and his wife Jacqueline flew into a new tourist airport in the north of Burma.
We heard the clinking of chains and we went outside and noticed about 30 people crushing rock by hand, and one of them raised his prison uniform at the legs to display manacles which were running across his ankles. He then quietly lifted his shirt, which showed a chain around his waist, and from my memory he also had a manacle around his neck. And one of the officials informed us that the prisoners were political prisoners.
He told you they were political prisoners?
Yes, he very explicitly said that they were political prisoners.
The Burmese government have said, when questioned about this by human rights organisations, that this is a traditional voluntary form of labour.
That's rubbish. It was clearly not voluntary. You don't volunteer to crush rock dressed in threadbare uniform in the freezing cold with chains all over your body and standing under guard. I'm familiar with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I believe that what I observed was a clear breach of the provisions and the articles relating to forcible work and slavery.
Forced labour goes on all over the country, but a lot of these projects are aimed at the tourist trade, tourist industry. They are meant for tourists, building roads, building bridges. So we do not think that it's a good idea to promote Visit Myanmar 1996, which is not to say that tourists should stay away forever from Burma. After all, Burma will always be here. And one day when it's a democratic Burma, I think it will be a place that tourists will enjoy visiting, and they need not have any qualms about visiting it.
These prisoners are preparing a tourist attraction in Mandalay. The actual road to Mandalay has recently been converted to an expressway. For the local people forced to work on it, it's known as the Road of No Return. According to Amnesty, 2 workers who tried to escape were executed by soldiers on the spot. One was hacked to death. Mr. Sherwood, last year your company signed a deal for $35 million with the Burmese regime. What does that involve?
Well, it's basically an investment in ships and shore facilities for the development of river tourism in Burma.
Did you consider all the implications of Burma's rather appalling record as far as human rights are concerned before you went in with this project?
Well, I did, and I've tried to investigate these allegations about human rights infringements. It's very hard to pin them down. People make these accusations or allegations. I immediately try to see if there's any proof to them. I can't find it, but of course I accept that I cannot visit all of Burma, and my visits are limited to the principal cities, so perhaps that's out of sight, out of mind attitude. So I can't speak any further than my personal knowledge.
Did you make really any attempt before you invested in Burma to see this other side?
Well, what I did do was that I contacted the senior CIA representative for Burma and had extensive discussions about the truth of all of these allegations. And he confirmed to me that they were all untrue, or that to the degree that they occurred, they were related to the drugs war. So
they're not allegations. I mean, you would think that the United Nations, Amnesty, Human Rights Watch, the United States government, the United States State Department says, for instance, forced labor is routine in Burma. I don't think these all come into the realm of allegations. There's a great deal of substance there, surely.
Well, perhaps you can say so, but I don't have any personal evidence of it.
Did you see the elected leader of the country, Aung San Suu Kyi, when you were there?
No, I didn't, no. I think it would be inappropriate or untactful for us to open a dialogue with the opposition leader.
But she's the elected leader. Some would say that the people, the generals that you saw, are the opposition.
Well, I believe that the generals are in power.